All right, well, this is what happens when you want to place a bet, make
Oh yeah, let's just go nice and slow. Obviously, make sure there's no cuts. That's gonna happen.
All right. Well, let's give it a bit of a watch. So, as you can see, you all will see the final product on the show.
Eyebrows?
On the show, no eyebrows, mate. You'll all see the final product tonight on the show. Ciao.
All right, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Oh, the jumper punch, where we punch us straight in the face. And if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. Shut up, girl. All right, how we going, guys? How are we all? We'll get to Manny in a second. Well, first of all, let's say hi to a few people. We've got Cricket Shots here, Fourever Rivals. We've got Arosh. Jay's always here. We've got Galicchio. He's always there. Who else we got? Lana. Thanks, Lana. Who else we got here? Peter Bluebagger. What's going on? Hi, fellas. Haircut time. Yeah, we all know. What else do we got here? We got Scotty Tompkins. We're going to be seeing Scotty Tompkins in the studio very soon. We have got Seba. Now, I just want to say publicly to Seba, Seba's doing a great job as the moderator. Last night, he was on fire, mate. He's giving people time out. He's doing whatever. So if you fuck around, Seba's going to fix you right up. So good job, Seba. Mate, we've got so many new people here. We got Clinton. I can't remember. Oh, here we go. Jason Prime. I think he was on last night. What else we got? Rocco Moto. Mate, there's so many people so far. I think it's all about Rafael Manny. You are the king of the word of your word. That's exactly right. He is. I'm just trying to find some new people here just to say hi before we get stuck into it. Oh, look at this. We have got Lone Wolf with a $5 donation. Thank you very much, Manny. Did your team spend too much time in the wet and wild? I think they are still there on Friday and forgot there was a game on Pie. Season is over. We will talk about Blake. My God, I can't keep up here. All right. That's a few people there. Yeah, you want to keep giving donations? Go for it. We've had a big week in footy. We've also had a big week, a big few days on the jumper punch. So I think everyone's come on to see what's going on. But I want everyone. There will be. I've been thinking about it. So there will be a statement right at the end of the show that I need to make. Right, there is a statement by me at the end of the show. Get all your Collingwood people on. Get everyone down there at about 9:30. I will be making a public announcement. It's not an announcement. It's a statement. All right. So I would recommend I'm telling you, go out now, ring them up, tell them all to come on because it's going to be a big statement. All right. Got all that out of the way. First of all, Quinny, how are you, buddy? How's things?
Mate, good. Things are good. A lot better after watching that video on Manny. I'm pumped to see the Capella come off soon. So I'm looking forward to a big show.
Oh, yes, mate. It's going to be a big show. Unfortunately for your fucking shit Tigers, mate, I don't know. You can't fall any lower than where you are at the moment, can you? You have the lonely North Melbourne Football Club just climb above you and he's sitting on your head now.
We're tanking. We want the number one pick. That's all it is. We're tanking. We'll be all right.
I reckon, do we go to Mark or do we go to Manny next? What do you reckon?
No, we'll save Manny for last, I reckon. We'll save Manny for last.
Save Manny for last. Oh, look at this. I don't know what's going on. Hey, Rocco, fuck you, Mark. Oh, that's from Slobbo. That'll be from that bloke.
Good on you, Slavo.
Yeah,
We're all got our own
I just
opinions,
love
haven't we? We're all got our own opinions, but good evening, all fellas.
What's happened to the baggers on Saturday night? I don't know. You haven't got a TV, Clinton? I don't know. Well, what's going on? You got no radio? What's going on? You don't know what happened? You want me to explain? Stay tuned, and we will explain everything to you. But we have got Marco, and Marco, thanks to Marco, the only reason this show is on this channel right at this moment is because of this man over here, Corton Security Doors and Blinds. We protect the most important thing. We protect your home and your family. What was that? What can I hear? Does everyone want me to sing the song? Far out.
Yeah.
Please, Rocco, can you please sing the song?
All right, let's do it. I'm telling you, I wouldn't do it if people weren't like, I'm getting messages during the week. Sing the song, sing the song. All right. So, if you want your family to be safe, Corton Security Doors and Blinds is the place that don't support a Fourever rivals and a really top mate. And don't forget to ring 83394848. And don't forget to ring 394. And don't forget to ring 83394848.
Yes, Rocco, fantastic, mate. Just give us a call on 83394848 for a free measuring quote. You know, obviously mention the Fourever rivals or the jumper punch and receive 10% off your proposal. Now, obviously, we're specialising in all different types of security doors, all internal blinds, plantation shutters, roller shutters, outdoor blinds. And just be mindful, guys, out there, spring is just around the corner. So let's just beat the spring and the summer rush and the pricing. So if you want to get a quote nice and early and you get a good price before the spring, summer, call us now on 83394848.
We love it, man. Even though he barries for a dud team, I'm telling you, he's security doors and blinds, man. The other day, I locked the security door and blind here, mate. I could not get into my house for like 3 days, mate. I'm telling you, it locks my missus was happy, but I was sad, man, sleeping in the garage for 3 days because I'm telling you, they're the best security doors and blinds.
Thanks, Rocco.
Oh, look, we got a few. So we got everyone here. Jay's on here. Carl's a big support. How are you, Carl's? We've got we're already talking about the footy. We're gonna move to that. What else have we got? Manny. Oh, we got pretty much everyone. All right, cool. All right, we're all here for one reason, mate. Magpie, Manny, how are you going, mate?
Well, a very warm good evening to everyone. And can I say welcome to the Fourever rivals. Rocco did get excited once again and said welcome to the jumper punch, but that's okay. We're always here to correct him. No problems there. But everyone knows that this is the Fourever rivals. This is where we separate the men from the boys. And, of course, like usual, as everyone is waiting, they want me to remove the cap. Well, okay. Hang on. Hello? Yeah, come in. I've just ordered myself a coffee. Is that it? Yeah. Cheers to everyone. I got myself a short black there.
Where's mine?
He
And
just
drum
got
roll.
himself a short black. Drum roll. Oh, look at that, mate.
There we are. A
When
man
Uncle Fester farted, we all become
of my word.
You
Marco,
are a man on your
a
word.
man of my word. Something that you find very hard to do, but that's okay.
Who's that?
It's okay.
Who's that?
Marco. He's always sitting there saying, "Oh," but that's okay. I made the bet. I got a bit too excited. The boys didn't let me down. However, this is my current new look. Some people will say that it actually might be the new look of the future. I'd love to hear what people think.
Well, we're already getting a few here, Manny. Humpty Dumpty.
Live the kid Alone.
Uncle Fester, big time. He is too, Uncle Fester. Far out. Far
Yeah,
out.
Thank you. Yep.
It would be funny if it doesn't grow
It
back,
looks
mate.
good, man. It
Sometimes
really
that happens,
suits
Manny.
you, mate. It suits you, Manny. It suits you, mate.
You want to
look,
know something? It doesn't suit you. You do look like a prick with ears, right? So I would be quickly growing that hair as quickly as possible, mate. Mate, there are many
somebody said to
Costco
me-
reckons porn star, mate. What is your porn name? What is your porn name?
What's that?
What's your porn name?
Mental Angulo.
Look. I don't want to reveal too much.
It's your first. It's the first. What it is.
Look, if you want to
The
know,
first-
it's
your
Manny.
first pet's name?
Manny
No,
Mandingo.
listen, Manny, you're not listening. It's your
Mandingo.
first ever pet's name and your first ever street.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that?
Your first ever pet, its name,
Yeah.
and the first street you lived in.
Wow. Okay. Well, my first pet's name is Zeus, and I used to live in Long Street, Coburg.
That is the best. Zeus Long.
Or
All
Manny
right,
Mandingo Porn Star Enterprises. There you go.
Manny has a better ball look than Rocco. All right, take it easy, young Dylan there, because just remember something.
Put your back-
You're gonna
put your
look.
head back
You're
on,
gonna
Manny.
look like me when you get older. Manny
just-
is way nicer than Slobbo Robbo. Yeah, of course.
Well, somebody said to me that it's a actual solar panel for a sex machine.
Well, does
So-
everyone have their? While we're here, I'm gonna fucking go into this. Quinny, what's your porno name?
Yeah, that's no good going off your one. So my first pet, her name was Zoya, and the street
Zoya.
name was Holskamp. So not a great porn star name.
Zoya,
It's a terrible
Holskamp.
one.
You sound like one of those Dutch pornos where around the spa, you know.
Yeah.
All right, Marco, what was yours?
Yeah, not a good one.
My first pet name was a German Shepherd called Rocky,
Rocky.
and we lived
It's
in a
already
street
good.
called, Miston Avenue, so Rocky Miston.
That's not a bad one.
That's not a bad one. You want to know mine? Bobby Watkins. That's a
Bobby
porno
Watkins.
name.
That's like a bit of a wrestler as well.
I could see that.
Bobby Watkins could be a footy player too.
Yeah.
It could be a. Oh, look at this. We've got Michelle. Thank you very much. Your stud muffin. There you go. What about this one? We've got Tits McKee. Everyone's putting in their porno names here. This is the best, man. All right, I think we just came up. All right, listen. Since Manny made good with his bet, I did have a bet I had to take care of, remember? And I did say I was going to take care of it. And I did end up getting down to Sereno. So does everyone want to look at my bet that I had to do?
Oh, yeah, eventually, yay.
Oh, here we go. Don't get too smart. I told you I had to get down there, mate, and I eventually did, and I made good, mate. You want me to show you? Don't want me to show you? Don't get smart. All right, let's everyone have a look at this. All right, guys, I'm here at Sereno Beach. I'm here to make good of the bet I lost against Manny. The sand is cold, let alone the water. So here I go. Everyone get ready and watch this. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Fuck, it's cold. That's fucked. That is fucked. Ooh. And that's how you do it. Give me my towel. Got the Bluey's towel ready to dry. Oh, fuck. There you go, boys. There you go. And I'll tell
Oh,
you what,
Rocco.
I'm going to tell you something, right? So someone put it up here. The fucking shrinkage afterwards, mate, it was, I'm telling you, mate, that's as cold as I've ever been, mate. It was freezing, mate. And soon as my feet hit that water, it was like bloody spikes running up my body, man. It was cold. But unfortunately, you lose a bet. Yeah, I'm walking like a penguin, man. If you saw how, I'm telling you that the sand was ice cold, mate. Like my feet were frozen by then. So anyway, this is going to be like, yes, it's going to be like Georgia. It shrinks in the wet. It shrinks. It shrinks, mate.
It's the shrinkage.
It's the shrinkage. And then he goes to Elaine. Do you know about shrinkage? And she goes, it shrinks. And he goes, yes, it shrinks, you know. So there you
Well
go.
done, Rocco.
Did I regret it? No, I didn't regret it. We do what we got to do. All right, that was pretty good. So we started with a bit of a bang, huh? That was pretty good. So everyone's done what they got to do. We're going to get into the serious business. All right, where are we going? They're still stirring me up. What's going on? Oh dear. What was the bet between Manny and Rocco? Well, when we lost to Collingwood. That was
That's
the bet. Whoever lost it had to go and jump in the ocean. Yeah, so it did take a few weeks. I did have to get there. Yes, I think you're bloody right about that. Yes, Sorrento local called after seeing that. I actually, and to tell you the truth, man, I had a whole bunch of people who would, because they're all viewing, right? And then I walk down, take off me fucking clothes. So I had this crowd watching me running, scream, and then scream as I run back out. So it was all good. It was actually a very nice and expensive week in Sorrento, mate. It's cheaper to go overseas to fucking Paris. I'll tell you right now, mate. It is dear up there. We've got a question from Mark. Mark, have you secured your grand final tickets yet?
No, not as yet, but I'm pretty primed to do that at this stage. But
Very good. I like it. All right, let's get stuck into this. We have got something to talk about. We have got this. All right, it's been a week in footy. I mean, a few things have happened. The big one I think that we are going to talk about is, did I even get a graphic up? Oh yeah, I kind of did get a graphic up. Where is it? Anyway, I think we're going to be talking about a coach, the first coach of 2024 to get sacked, Simo. We got a little bit of a took over in 14, made the grand final in 15, won it in 18. That was a good year, 2018. That was a bloody great grand final. Remember that one, Manny? That was great grand final.
Shocking. That was the one that got away.
242 games, coached 122 wins, and coached 12 finals. So not a bad record. Started well, but fell away at the end. So any thoughts on that? And then any thoughts on that? And then I pose a question.
I think the timing was probably right. Sorry, Manny, you go.
No, all I was going to say is that when you're comparing that track record with the current coaching, that's the coaches that are there at the moment, apart from McRae, who's got a flag, a few of the other, a lot of those coaches at the moment, and that's not a bad track record when you look at it. 10 years, he's got a premiership there. He's played finals, and I know it's hard for Marco to understand what finals are, but this is but I think at the moment, I don't know what the Eagles are thinking, because I think he's a coach that the last 3-4 years hasn't really had the right staff, maybe. And I know that he's got a very, very young side. And, I suppose they're expecting bigger and better from the Eagles. But, You know, it's a circle, isn't it? It's just a circle of life. You know, you can't compare. You know, Geelong's probably one of the few teams that tends to play finals football more often than any other team. But you know, good luck to him. But it'll be interesting to see what the next person does.
It will be interesting. At the end of the day, it wasn't a bad coaching record. I mean, he started really well. Last few years have been terrible. He's fallen away. Is it a good time to get rid of the coach? That's the question I want to ask. Is it worth getting rid of the coach mid-season? Is it worth it? I think it is. If the players aren't responding, which they don't look like they are, and at the start of the year, I think the president said, or the CEO said, that he wants to see some sort of improvement. He wants to see the team hit certain indicators, and that hasn't happened. So it's time to move on. And I think now is a good time because they have to start looking for a coach, mate. And that takes time, and that takes a process, and that takes interviews and all sorts of stuff. So I think it's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say before, I think the timing's right. I mean, he's been there 11 years. It's a long time. A lot of coaches don't last that long. And is he gonna want to see out the rebuild now? Like, obviously they've already been doing it for a couple of years, but does he want to see it out? Is he going to be able to stick around long enough? And like you said, Rock, if the players aren't responding, I think he saw the writing on the wall, and it's probably the right time to move on. But I think you got to remember as well, he had the great record early, like you said, and then 2020 was when they got riddled by COVID, and they had players coming out of retirement to fill in for them, and I think that shot them as a club. And then after that, they started to lose premiership players to retirement, and they just never really recovered from that year. So I think if that doesn't happen, West Coast probably aren't as bad as what they have been the last few years, and we could be talking very differently about Simo. But regardless, I think it's the right time, right decision for both him and for the club. And I reckon I'm sure most people in the comments would have seen it, and you boys probably as well. The Western Australian newspaper, what they posted on the front page today is an absolute disgrace.
Oh, yeah. What was that about? Explain that. What was that about?
So essentially, in the press conference yesterday, Simo made a comment. He made a comment about how the media attacks the players and attacks coaches, and that they're too harsh, right? And he goes, you want players to be more open. Well, he goes, how about let's ease up on them a little bit? He goes, we've all got families. We've all got, we're people. Let's ease up. The next day, in response to him having a clip at the media, the Western Australian puts up a big red square and had all the games records, loss, win, loss. Like, it just called out his recent record.
Very good. Very nice.
Photo and saying, thanks, Simo, for all you've done. On him on the way out. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I agree, man. That's just gutless, man. That is just gutless. Like Clinton said, that is gutless, man. That after he's been sacked, that's not the time to do that now. It's done. Like, why are we doing that now? Like, really, at the end of the day, he's the coach of the West Coast Eagles. He's put his time, everything into it. All right. Hey, they won flags, mate. And then at the end of the day, it didn't work out. Move on, mate. Like, why are we mate, that's pretty poor, I reckon.
They've got three in their history, and he's one of them. Like, you think he'd be held with a little bit higher regard, a little bit more respect on his name. So I think for a good bloke, he seems to be a pretty good bloke. I reckon that was pretty stiff.
Yeah, mate, certainly. I reckon they probably should have obviously through COVID, most of the players that were playing at West Coast, they didn't even know who the players were. They were coming from the VFL or whatever the case may be. So half of the team wasn't even recognised. So, obviously it was a bit of a disappointment there through COVID, but you can't blame that all the time. I reckon that Simpson should have been either sacked or he should have resigned at the end of last year, my opinion. I think he's gone that 1 year too long, and they should have recruited a coach by the end of last year. But obviously they kept going through him, and it's ended up being now where he's been sacked three quarters through the season. The thing is, I think what coaches are out there that are good enough to coach these days. I mean,
you don't know because where you know, like you say that every year, and then like they just come up. Like for example, Collingwood. Where did McRae come from?
Yeah, well, I'm asking the question.
I know he's come from a coach, but what I'm saying is you don't know if they can coach a senior side. So you've got to.
So
I could see Nathan. I could see Nathan Buckley going up there.
Nathan Buckley may be a chance. Obviously,
Yeah,
Buckley might be
yeah.
going to Tasmania. So maybe do throw him in the cards. Look, where are these other coaches out there at the moment in the system that are head coaches that are proven? That's my question. Whether you take a risk and put
that's the choice.
an assistant coach in, that's not a choice, and that could actually devalue the team again next year. So, what coaches at the moment that are out there that are genuinely going to bring West Coast up to the next standard of playing football? That's my question. I don't know, but you had to get rid of Simpson because obviously the team.
I think there comes a time. I'm telling you, with coaches, I just believe. Look, the players have to take responsibility every time a coach gets sacked, right? Because some of their poor performances has to be on them. What happens is, I believe that players will start to play for themselves, right? Players won't put in 100%. They don't know if he's going to coach next year. So who are they impressing? Like, they don't give a shit. So it's kind of this snowball effect, and then unfortunately, I think there's a time when once you lose the players, that's it. You got to go, mate. You got to go because
and that's what I'm saying.
They need a few fresh, like ideas.
Of course,
that's what I reckon.
And that's what I'm saying, Rock. That they probably waited a little bit too long for that. They should have made that decision probably towards the end of last year, and got themselves a new coach, and they've got obviously some young guns out there in Harley Reid and some young good players out there that they could have started building this year, but they decided to keep Simpson, and all of a sudden, 3/4 of the season he gets sacked. So it's like a waste of a year for him, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think also things have changed a lot in terms of, like, you would see coaches that would be always in the media. Like, we've got old Hawthorn coaches that are used, for being famous for their quotes, and and you had Ron Barassi, who was famous because the media turned him into real superstars. Yeah. Now coaches are so different these days. They're so private. The only time they'll talk is when there's that media coverage. You don't get that, with the cameras in the dressing rooms, and it was that pep, you know what I'm talking about? That inspirational talk about getting out there and, ripping their guts apart and doing what you got to do. You know what I mean? So that also plays, I think, a huge role. And nowadays, you don't get to see much. You don't get to learn much. I mean, McRae, he took over Collingwood 3 years ago, but if you had said when McRae took over, I was thinking to myself, oh, okay, But obviously, even those who aren't so big,
McRae's obviously won a flag, but that's in 3 years. It's pretty raw. Maybe in the next 5 or 6 years, Collingwood won't even make the 8. So then what are they going to do now? Get rid of him? But when he first started, McRae, won the flag.
Depends on what stage you're at, Mark. It depends on what stage you're at in your team. Like, do you go into a team that's already established, or do you go into a team that's rebuilding? That's what you got to work out. And then do you get a coach who's good at rebuilding? Like, for example, North Melbourne. I think Alistair Clarkson's perfect for North Melbourne. He's done it before in Hawthorn.
Yeah, well, that was my point. McRae's gone to a side that are pretty much established already, so they've won a flag within 1 or 2 years of his coaching.
You don't know if he's going to be able to rebuild a side. You don't know that until he goes through it.
Exactly.
It might be Peter Lubeck. I reckon Danny Lately would probably be a good one if he could go up there. No.
I think a one to remember as well, and I don't like to give Collingwood any credit, but I'm pretty sure the year McRae took over, the year before that, they'd finished second last on the ladder. And then he got him into a prelim in his next season. So again,
but
Collingwood,
they weren't rebuilding. They weren't
no,
rebuilding.
they weren't rebuilding. Collingwood had the list. They just had a shit year the year before. But he a ladder a fair bit. But then you look at the other end of the spectrum, and like Adam Uze, for example, he's coming to a rebuilding side. Now that phase is completely different to what Craig McRae took over when he took over Collingwood. So it depends on what phase you're in and what coach you think will be suited for the job. Like Rocco said, Clarko did such a good job at Hawthorn. It just made sense for him to be the one to take over North Melbourne and get them out of there, because he's there to see the ride out too. He won't hang around for 2 years and bugger off.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say that Voss, sorry, Rocco, would it be fair to say that Voss took over where, you can't say Carlton was rebuilding because they had the players. They're probably in a similar situation as what McRae was. Yeah?
Yeah, I believe when Voss come in, we've gone past the rebuild stage, and because that was the Bolton era and all that, that's what they brought in Bolton and that in for, because it was all about getting in players. I'm sure they controlled in what they had to do and that. And then to me, like, naturally Voss is the good choice now, but to me, he was almost a scapegoat, and then they brought in Voss, and Voss come into an established side. They were just there on the edge of doing something. So he's coming at a good time. He didn't come in, for example, like a North Melbourne or even now a Richmond. You're perfect form to talk about this, Quinn. Like, your coach has come in, it is at a rebuilding stage, man. Like, he's one that has to now rebuild this side from almost the bottom up.
Yeah, 100%. Well, if you remember as well, like, obviously, you said it yourself, but I watched a video the other day, and you've probably seen it, Rock. It was Brendan Bolton at Carlton, and he had a meeting with all the players, and he was talking about how he could already see the spine of the club. And he said it was like Wiedering, I think maybe Marchbank, Cripps, and it was Curnow, Harry, DeConning, and it was like that spine of the club was there. And then it was just the building blocks that would go around him. And then it showed when Voss took over that they all just sort of clicked and it gelled.
That's
they were there.
And do you know, I said this last time, right? I think I said this last week. We recruited Patrick Cripps in 2013, right? Then the big draft was 2015. That's like 10 years ago, mate. That is 10 years ago. That's how long it takes to get a side where you can be competitive. So someone that's going to, and I mean, West Coast they've got a couple of good players. All teams have got a couple of good players, but it's about rebuilding the best, So
you reckon it takes 10 years?
It might, but what I'm saying is when you look back, but when I say 10 years, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, oh, Richmond now, that means 10 years. I can already read your bald mind, right? No. But what that means is in 4 or 5 years' time, if Richmond are in the finals, like in the top 4, they'll look back, right? And there'll be players in that team that they've recruited in 2017 and 18, right? And then it'll be then. And then you look back and you go, when you look at your team now, even you, Mark, look at your side. There's players there that have been there 7, 8, 9 years. And then you look at it and you go, far out, it's taken that long to build this list, It takes a long time, mate. Like, people think in 2-3 years you build it. Mate, it takes a long time to build a competitive and continuously, like, consistent side, mate.
Yeah.
So
you need to
taking the Bombers 20 years and they still missed the bus.
Look, we're not going to go back with the Bombers 20 years ago. We got punished, Manny, and we don't want to bring that up again. We don't want to keep on bringing it up again about what happened to the Essendon Football Club. We've got set back 10, 15 years, mate, because I'll tell you now.
That's your fault. And that's still
it's
like...
It's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's about the way the AFL perceived us to be.
Are you going on to one of your tantrums now?
No, I'm not going to one of my tantrums. It's affected the club for the last 10 years. Just move on.
It's got nothing to do with that. That's like saying, Carlton, we got punished. But you can't blame something from 20 years ago. Still now, man, you had all that time, right,
Yeah.
to reset, and you didn't. So
Yeah.
Well, has Carlton?
What? Even Carlton?
Well, has Carlton? No.
What do you mean?
So
It's
Carlton
Carlton?
hasn't done anything in 35 years. So that's
Well,
the thing. It's
first of
affected.
all, it's not 35 years, so don't go adding extra numbers. That's the first thing. So
It is
if you're going
35
to
years.
talk to me, Mark, right, what you do is, again, come up with facts, right? But what
It is
I'm
a fact.
saying is, shut the fuck up. What I'm saying is, right, is this simple, right? You're missing the point. You keep blaming the AFL on your downfall for 20 years, right? First of all, and I didn't want to get back into this, Mark, it was your club's fault. Full stop, right?
Okay.
Then that was 20 years ago. Stop making fun. You know what this is like? This is like this fucking society now, right? You're blaming your fucking mother for your downfalls. No, you're a fucking adult. It's been 20 years. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I know it's been 20 years, but what I'm saying is,
I
I
go
don't believe
blaming,
it.
the AFL set us back.
I blame
No.
the AFL. That's my belief. But that's my belief, Rocco. Like what you want to
But
believe,
your belief is
I believe
wrong.
was the AFL.
It doesn't matter that it's a belief. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're making excuses. And you know what? Keep making your excuses because you might not even make the 8. So keep making your fucking excuses, mate.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fine.
So I wanted to talk about this, and this might be a good segue, right? Grow the fuck up. Right? Grow the fuck up. Right?
Yeah. Well, what I was
Now,
saying.
should Damien Hardwick be berated for saying the word fuck in a press conference?
No, he shouldn't be. I don't think he should berate it. I reckon he should cop the fine, whatever the AFL wants to slap him with, because there's rules in place. But I actually don't hate the passion behind it. I don't hate the passion behind it. I don't think the berating needs to be there, but slap him with his fine. He won't do it again, and we move on.
Yeah, what do you reckon? Do you reckon it was all right for him to get into the press conference after? Remind you, these blokes cannot win away. Again, they put themselves into a position of winning. They might miss out on the finals, right? And he gets frustrated. He goes into a press conference and he says, grow the fuck up. And then I hear people like Purple and all them, he shouldn't have swore in a... Jam it up your ass. How does that sound? How does that sound, mate? Like what? The word fuck, right, is used more than any other word. Why is people so sensitive, mate? He was being passionate. We ask them to be passionate and real, and when they are, we berate them. So what do you want him? So in other words, we want to now censor everybody. Is that what we want to do? Like people are, can I use the word? Fucked.
Well, it's the most pleasurable word that's going around at the moment, isn't it? You know what I mean? Somebody tells me to go and get fucked, I think that's a compliment. No worries. Thank you very much. There's nothing more pleasurable. But the reality is, look, we're living in a society, right? We're living in a society where somebody can get up in the morning and say that today I recognize myself as a light bulb or a bottle of mineral water, but yet the moment you express yourself about something, it seems to be that the minority are affected so much. But then, all right, he said what he said. He's going to get a fine. We move on with it. You know what I mean? But it is. You're right. Soft cock society. That's what we're.
You know what? Matula's correct because to tell you the truth, he said it and then apologized immediately, right? Yeah. And they still berated him. Like people are stuffed, man. I want him to be like the English and the Italian leagues where they just come out and they just tell it as it is, mate. And if you don't like it, get out of the press conference, mate. People had better start hardening up, mate. People better
what
start.
Was the coach? Who was that Italian? I think he was Italian, and he goes, sometimes we may be good, sometimes we may be shit.
He's the best. Malacca. It was fucking Malacca. That's what he goes. He goes to Malacca. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes it may be shit, you know? Like, he was the best, man.
That's right.
We need that. We need that. Some real honesty.
That's it. That's it.
You've got to be careful what you say these days.
He's an Italian.
That's how it works, mate. The media takes control. So we've got to be a little
It's
bit
not the
careful what we
media, Mark. It's
well,
the
you know, at
society.
the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of, you know, young families that go to the football, young kids, they watch the show, and you know, you've got to put a stamp to it. Obviously, you know, he made a mistake and he admitted to it, but you've got to nut it now while you can, because if he can get away with it, somebody else will get away with it, and somebody else will get away with it.
What, Mark?
We're not talking about a show here that you can choose to watch in a way, because these shows here, these conferences are on Channel 7, you know, on Foxtel, and there's a lot of kids and you know, families that watch it, and I wouldn't like somebody saying fuck all the time if they're pissed off about a game of football.
You're not going to say it all the time.
Well,
Hey, Mark,
no, don't worry about it all the time.
If you ever gone to a school now,
nut it down while you can, all right? So fine him, says it again, you suspend him.
Fine him? Are you
It's a
serious?
different game, mate. It's not like it was.
Fine him for what?
For swearing on TV. That's all it is.
Shut up.
You have to, mate.
Man,
It's not,
have you seen what's on TV these days? Have you seen what's on TV these days?
yeah, but yeah, I guess that, you know, you can choose to watch movies and it
Well,
tells
you
you
can
if it's
choose to watch the
M-rated,
press conference.
if
Don't
it's
watch it.
R-rated or
If you can't handle the heat,
choose to watch those
Mate,
shows.
don't
they've
watch
got
it.
they had
Don't
this
watch
show.
it.
They had this show,
Don't
something
watch
to
it.
love something, island something, some bullshit like that. Mate, they got their tits hanging out, they got their asses hanging out, and all of a sudden, you know, that's the visual part of it is more than anything else. So we go sit there and say, we're going to say a couple of words. You know what? Who gives a flying fuck? You don't like it? Put fucking some Vaseline in your fucking ears, mate. Or in the morning when you're making a bit of toast, get a bit
That
of
won't
jam,
happen.
put it in your
That
ears.
won't happen,
Well,
mate.
yeah.
That won't happen on
kids these
TV,
days
mate.
have got
Now
so
I
much
know.
access to social media. Mate, I'm telling you right now, when I was a 10-year-old, if I was to swear, my old man would look at me and he wouldn't even have to say anything. Nowadays, the social media, kids swear more than they talk. That's the way society
You
is
know
now.
what? I don't know your say about this, Quinn, but you know what? You said it, Mark. Don't watch it. You don't have to watch it.
Yeah, well, you're not gonna pull your kids off the couch after sitting down and watching some coach swearing,
Why not?
are you? So,
Why
well, I mean, look. I'm just trying to say that, you know, it's not. I don't condone it. I don't condone it. Yeah, you say it in the spirit of the game, and we all say as we're watching the game. I even say it. You know, fuck, that was a free kick. You know, that's my choice to do it in front of my family. But big spectrum. I think they need to clamp down a little bit, and it's not to say that it's not going to happen again, but I think they need to be more aware of what they say on.
They are, mate. 99.9999987% of the time, they
Correct.
are perfect gentlemen. So if you say
Correct.
something, I don't want to hear some high and mighty bloody bloke like, oh, he shouldn't have said that. No, take it easy, mate. He said one word, move on. You know what the problem is, Mark? They've made it into an issue. They've made this into an issue. If you said nothing, no one would have talked about it. But they put it all over the media. Why, with this media? You shouldn't have said it. Well, don't print it. Don't print it. Just move on. Just move on.
Well, that's
just
right.
like what happened to the jumper punch in the last couple of days, right? Just move on. How about that? How about you just move on and don't bring it up again?
So did he get a fine for it?
No, he didn't get a fine as far as I know. But the I know, but the media have blown it up.
Of course, the media's going to blow it up.
Well, then
But
stop
was he
making it
reprimanded for
such an issue.
Okay. Well, the next time it happens, we won't make it an issue.
No, we are. We talk about whatever we want here. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, why are you making it such an issue? It's no big deal. He didn't go and kill anyone. He did was he let a word out because he was upset and he apologized straight away. They should have just let it go.
Correct.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it. Don't fine him. Like, that's ridiculous. You're going to fine him over a word. I even believe it was ridiculous what they did to bloody Clarkson when they fined him on the boundary line. Like, get over yourself. Everyone should just get over yourself. That's it.
I think the difference with the Clarko one was weren't they accusing him of like abusing an official? I think that's different. Dimmer one, completely different. I thought they would find Dimmer, to be honest with you. I thought that they would take a stand on it, but I don't, like I said earlier, I don't mind the passion. I reckon it was emotion. It all came out. If it was happening every second word in every press conference, then we got an issue. But once in a blue moon, I didn't hate it. And I reckon growing up, every household's different. So, you can't compare everybody. But I reckon my mum gave me a lot worse than what Dimmer gave on TV. So it's very different again. And Dimmer didn't use Italian, which my mum did. So, again, very different. But, I didn't mind it.
You go like, oh, these kids, they don't want to be exposed to it. Seriously, have you heard the music these days? I don't want to sound like an old person. I actually like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's no good. Yeah. But have you heard it? Like these kids are exposed to that instantly. Yeah. Right? And then you go, oh, he shouldn't say the word fuck once. Seriously, have you heard what they talk about on those songs? Right? Have you heard? Talk about porno names. Mate, I get excited when I listen to those songs, mate. That's how much foul language they use.
A bit of Ice Spice, you reckon, Rocco?
Mate, my days, the best thing we ever saw was like Madonna singing her songs, mate, when she was in her bloody little fucking G-string things there.
With the cones.
It was the cones, mate.
It's ironic, but 25 years ago, we'd sit there and we watch Wide World of Sports, and we'd watch our crickets, and we watch our one-day internationals and this and that, and they were sponsored by who? None other Benson and Hedges.
Oh yeah, right? Well, that's different. We had cigarettes.
All of a sudden things are changing, and then all of a sudden you see teenagers, and this is the irony. This is the irony of all. The government is trying to do the right thing. The AFL is trying to do the right thing. What a load of bullshit! And all of a sudden, they're allowing all these businesses to be selling vapes with watermelons and strawberries and all that jazz and just to entice people. And all of a sudden, they've made enough money, but now we've got to show that we're doing the right thing, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. I can't get fucked. It's you can't do anything these days. Everything is, what? You're walking down the street. All of a sudden, you might burp accidentally. Oh, jeez, he just burped.
People get offended by that. Well, Frank said when he first came to Australia, he thought English was going to be hard to learn. But every second word was fuck. And then I thought, this is going to be easy to learn. And isn't that the truth, mate? Isn't that the truth? All right, listen, we have got a new, I forgot to tell everyone that we actually got a new program director who directs our program. And his name's Arish, and he's just asked us what the next topic is. So from now on, Arish, you plan the show, you do everything for us, okay, mate? All right, what is the next topic? And I think there was a couple of suspensions in the last couple of days that are going to make a big difference to not only Brownlow, but also that team in Adelaide. For if they had half a chance of making the 8, they definitely got no chance now.
Yeah, I think the Rankin one, I think it's a talking point because of like what you said, Rock. It's definitely going to make or break Adelaide's season now, you'd assume. But I think in terms of the suspension, that was always going to be 3 to 4 weeks minimum. It was off the ball. Guy wasn't looking. He just came in, cleaned him up. Bang. See you later. I don't hate the toughness of it, but you had to suspend him for that. He got him high, knocked him out. Done. Case closed. The Isaac Heaney one, I personally cannot believe that he's been suspended for that. And Sydney is fighting it again. They're going back to and appealing the decision tomorrow night, which absolutely they should, because I can't see a world where that is a suspendable act. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I thought that was an absolute joke that Heaney is going to potentially Mr. Brownlow. He's not guaranteed to win it, but he's a chance.
He was up there. He was up there in the talk at least. Yeah,
exactly. And I think regardless of whether he's in Brownlow conversation or not, that should not be suspendable. I hated that was a suspendable act.
Yeah, I agree, but it's because they changed the rules, mate, didn't they? They changed the rules where if you do that,
They changed the rules, but here's why. Like that's why I don't like when they do, because they try to make it a blanket rule for everything. But there's so many variables in our game, and I agree they did change the rules and they made it as soon as you swing or try to fend off and you collect them high, it's graded as intentional, right? And I get
right.
that. The difference is you look at the Isaac Heaney situation. He was pushing off him. Jimmy Webster slipped over and his head ended up being waist height. It wasn't up here. It was waist height. So he was slapping his hand and all of a sudden his head's there, right? So that's the first issue. The second one, I don't know. Maybe it's my eyesight. I could be wrong. I've watched it in slow motion. I've tried to zoom in a little bit. I don't reckon Heaney's hand actually even – I reckon he got the blood nose from Heaney's boot when his head went further down. I might have to watch it again. But I don't know. I think it can't be such a blanket rule. And I know we talk about how sometimes it needs to be more of a blanketed rule because there's too many variables in footy, but I don't know. I just didn't like this one. I thought there was no malicious intent. It was, it was exactly, technically it was within the rules of the game. He went like that to fend off. Why was Jimmy Webster illegally holding him off the ball, 50 meters off the ball? That's another question you can ask. He was grabbing his jumper. So what's he supposed to do in that situation is what I want to know. What is he supposed to do?
I agree. Did you two at the bottom there did you see the incident?
Yeah, I saw the incident. I thought it wasn't a football act. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, regardless of him trying to fend off the player or not. It wasn't a football act, and I reckon he should have got at least a couple of weeks for it. Mind you, saying that, there was a player by the name of Barry Hall in the prelim that done something very similar, and he actually got off and played in the grand final. So it's all changed these days. But
the rules are different now.
Well, that's what I referred to. It's completely different than what it was a few years ago. But Barry Hall got off. But it's not a football act, regardless of how and when he hit the player. He should have at least 2 weeks. But why are these players going to the tribunal for? I don't get what the reason. What's the reason why they have to? To get off, or is it to get more weeks, or do the club pay for them to go to the tribunal?
You don't get more weeks, you bloody banana. But of course they're going to go there to get off, and the club's got to pay 15 grand.
Right. So that's the reason why they go to tribunal. So it costs money to go to tribunal.
Yeah, it costs you money. Yeah. So if they think that they've got a chance, they'll put up the 15 grand.
Right. Okay.
Do they get that money back if they win, Quinn? No.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm
not
Mark,
sure about that.
I mean, for a football club, 15 grand is not a lot of money. Yeah. So when you've got a superstar like Heaney at the moment, you got the Swans who are the number one side, and you got a player like Heaney who's been an absolute, he's been brilliant this year. So the club thinks to itself, common sense is let's doesn't matter how much it is, even if it costs them 50 grand. The facts are that they want to protest in a way, but they're doing it the right way. You mean? And this is what we're talking about, because for me personally, right? This is the irony about football, right? Let's talk about your shit team for a second and your shit coach, right? Your shit coach 2 weeks ago they got hammered against Carlton, then against Geelong.
I didn't shave my head off this week, mate.
They got hammered. That's all right. They got hammered by Carlton. Then they got hammered by Geelong. Then your coach started, and all of a sudden, you know what's happened? Collingwood Essendon game, all right?
Collingwood's out of the 8. Collingwood's out of the 8.
You knew straight away.
Hey, Mark, relax.
Be careful with that.
Might get offended. People might get offended.
No, Collingwood's out of the 8.
Yeah,
people might get offended. I'm just saying.
Now, okay, that's right. Now, I know what you're saying, right? I've just had a short black. I don't want it to come out, okay? Just let it settle, okay? The reality is that he was crying so hard. As far as I'm concerned, he's the one who should have copped the fine. Yeah, let it go, mate. Move on. Yeah, because even if you guys were doing anything wrong against Collingwood, the umpires, because they were under the spotlight straight away, certain things they should have called, they didn't call. But of course, you're not going to talk about that because you guys won. Yeah, exactly.
No, well,
But
apparently every decision was right this week. Hey, this David Burton, I've got to fucking give him a timeout because he reckons the only intelligent bloke in this lot is the one on the bottom left, and that's the big fucking. That's not
That's
you,
me.
you banana.
That's
You're
me.
bottom right, you banana.
I'm bottom left, right, top, and right.
I'm the bottom left, mate. I'm the bottom left.
So
Oh,
You wanna-
I want to ask just quickly as well. What about I want more directed at Mark. What about the Zerk Thatcher hit on Aaron Norton? He got off. Do you remember that one? And Norton was concussed.
when Sir Thatcher was playing for Essendon.
No, it was this year. But it only happened a couple of weeks ago. I was just saying if you saw that, I get to comparing the
No, I
incidents.
didn't see that. Sorry, Quinn, I didn't see that. I don't watch
Okay.
other games.
Oh, that's
I do watch a bit of Richmond.
You should be a coach.
But
A
not too much
peekaboo.
Richmond.
You
I
should
watch
be a
about
coach,
I
Mark.
watch about a quarter of Richmond, but after that, mate, I'll give up.
Peekaboo.
Carlton,
Why'd you bother? Why'd you bother watching that much?
Forget it.
You should be a coach,
Because-
Mark. I didn't see that.
Anything.
Mark, you must be from Maui.
Hey, Mark, you are. I mean, you are. You see things so one way. It is just beyond explanation. Yeah. There's
What
just,
do you mean? What do you mean? I see things more one way. What do you
Well,
mean?
what
I
do you
see
mean?
it one way.
well, last week
I believe what I
you,
see, mate.
you got done by Carlton. You got done by Geelong. Last week you were
Okay.
crying. You had how many? I think you had a whole novel. You pulled out a whole novel. You're waving it around. These are all the mistakes that were made against us against Geelong. You know, and then you had your coach. And correct me if I'm wrong, Quinn. The coach came out. He started crying, saying all these decisions. You know, the chop, chop, chop. With the seat, the chop, chop, chop. The thing where I get chop, chop, chop. And all of a sudden, what happened? They decided to back off. They backed off. Yeah.
All
And that's what's
right.
gonna
You
happen.
know what? I think we got a busy night, so we got some things to talk about here. So I think, as I said, there was a little bit that went on
Love you, Matty.
this week. I reckon more went on the jumper punch this week than actually in the AFL, apart from the sacking of the coach. Matula reckons Manny's on fire. So we're going to see about this fire because do you want to get into this week's games?
Oh,
Mark,
do
do
it.
you want to get into this week's games?
Is it the first game? What's the first game about? I can't remember. What's going on here?
I don't know. I'll put it up and we'll see which was the first game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it, boys.
You want to do the first one?
Well, we'll do the first one.
yeah, we might as well.
We have got Collingwood 12-8 tie to Essendon 13-14 92.
Do you want to start off,
Hey.
Matty, or do you want me to start off?
Now listen, this is between you two. So me and Quinn are just gonna hear about what happened last Friday night.
I'll start off, Matty, mate. I'll start off. Obviously, you've made the commitment by shaving your head, so I really appreciate that, buddy. Look, you know, a strong man can do something like that. So I really appreciate you shaving your head. Did you shave your balls at the same time?
I'm going to save that for you to come and shave them for me, mate.
Anyway, let's get on to the game, Manny. All right. So, you know, obviously, you know, Collingwood, mate, they jumped us. They jumped us at the start in the first quarter. But there was one consideration for one player, Cripps. Now, you don't see this come very often. 3 goals in 2.5 minutes he kicked in the first quarter. You never see that. I've never seen that before. I'm not quite sure about the other boys there, but 3 goals in 2.5 minutes, it shook the Bombers a little bit, and Collingwood got the jump on us. But I still felt and I believed that after quarter time, if we get some form of momentum going, I think we're going to get close to these guys. And we did. We got the momentum going. We pressured the Collingwood Football Club. We actually started going wide. And I don't think Collingwood like that. They don't like teams going wide and holding the ball up a little bit. We kept the momentum going right up until the last 5 minutes of the last quarter, when obviously Collingwood kicked a couple of junk goals towards the end of the last quarter there. But I was still very confident that you wouldn't come back and beat us. Even though Collingwood are a team that are always going to come back, I always had that in my mind, but I just believe that I don't think it's going to happen tonight. And I was so confident that Essendon, regardless of 1, 2, 3, or 4 goals, we're going to beat you that night. And that's a good sign to the Essendon Football Club. I'm going to mention a couple of players. Zach Merritt, what a superstar. Always gives 100%. Defensively, pressure, interception, creates. Fantastic. He's a superstar, mate. He's going to get close to winning the Brownlow, even though he won't win it because of the 1 week suspension that he got. But he's a superstar. He's changed the Essendon Football Club the last probably 12 months. Not to mention Mackay, I felt he played very solid in the defence. Took some contested marks and intercept marks in the back line. He's coming to his stripes. A player that we don't mention very often is Jai Caldwell. I see him as being one of Essendon's, the old style midfield player that goes in hard, does the little things that people don't notice. And a young player watched his space, Caddy, his second game back at the Essendon Football Club. You don't get to trade a lot of centre-half forwards these days that are going to be guns in the future. So Caddy, for me, is going to be a shining star for the Essendon Football Club for the next 10 years. But, again, we just keep rolling on, boys. 4 points, sitting top 4. Collingwood, I think they might have some few issues, but I might ask you a question a little bit later on the evening, Manny, on the under the pump. But I think the Bombers are going quite nicely at the moment.
Well, first of all, before you go, I just want to make John Holden, one of our moderators, exactly, man. Why aren't you hitting the like button? Hit the like button, man. It's not hard. Man, if you're still on here, hit the like button. Bunch of dogs, you are. All right, go.
Hey, Mark, thanks very much for that, mate. You've just wasted 3 minutes of my time. All right. All I'm going to say is we made a pretty shit side, Essendon, look pretty good. Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, the reality is that, and I said this last week, we're missing some key defenders. Those key defenders have got our team, our structure is at the moment out of shape. Yeah. And we're not playing.
You haven't got enough depth then, mate. You haven't got enough depth then, mate. A good side has depth, mate. A good side has depth. You haven't got it.
I'll let you talk, right?
Yeah.
Which I
you're
don't know.
Saying we're a shit side. You're saying we're a shit side that has beat you guys because you haven't got your players.
You are. You are a shit side,
mate.
You are a shit side. You still haven't beaten the top 8 side, right? You still haven't beaten the top 8 side. You guys are a shit side, right? Now, I could talk about the Collingwood Football Club because I've seen a lot of finals football over the last few years. You've seen good ups, but at the moment, our defence is letting us down. I mean, we've got some key defenders that are not there. We're not playing connected footy. We're missing targets, and that's important. And I can tell you right now that the fact that we've been missing those targets is what's cost us. And we lost Nathan Murphy. We got good news is that we got McStay, who's he's going to have his first game in the VFL this week, which is exciting. I mean, my check. That's the whole season for him. Sidebottom is still a superstar. 34 whatever you call it.
Cook chips.
But the good news is we've got Jamie Elliott that's coming back. So you know what? We're slowly getting some talent that we need. And the reality is right now, if we're comparing Collingwood to the Collingwood of last year, right around this time of the year, no, we look like a very, very average side. And you know what? We're just outside the 8. I'm not going to say too much, but yeah, we need some improvement, and it's simple as that. But to sit there and tell me that Essendon is a team that's going to be knocking on the finals door at the moment, no, because I can tell you right now, we're undermanned in every area. You guys are not. So you guys should have kicked our asses. You guys should have beaten us by at least 7, 8 goals. But you know what? You guys have got big problems. You guys can't kick straight, and that's your excuses. We can't kick straight. You know what? End of the day, it is what it is.
I guess we keep on bagging the Bombers that we're not beating teams.
I shaved my head.
We're not beating teams. Yeah.
I shaved my head.
Well, that's going to remind you. That's going to remind you.
Because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to put my money where my mouth is. You know, I was confident we were gonna beat you, and we didn't. And like I said, you know, over the next few weeks, it's going to really, really show where we're heading. But side bottom, in retirement, maybe. But at the moment.
He's saying you look like Sidebottom. Oh no, he's saying Sidebottom. There's someone says that you look like Sidebottom.
Oh, do I? Okay.
Manny looks like an older version of Sidebottom.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll take that as a compliment. But in all fairness, Mark, you know, it was a boring game. I actually didn't enjoy it.
I enjoyed it.
You know, for me, it was like I said, and like a mate of mine said to me, he goes, Manny, we're going to have 2 things against us. And I said, what's that? He said, the umpiring and the umpiring. And I said, why is that? And he says, because their cockhead coach, what's his name? Bobby Scott, Brad Scott, whatever his name is, to the media. And of course, you know, AFL said we don't want too much attention. Well, let's let support the box. That's what I'm saying. Let's move on.
Just be mindful, man. You keep on saying that.
You both had your say. No one really cares. Can we just have in the chat, because I know there'll be a lot of Carlton supporters in there. Can we just have who we hate more here, Essendon or Collingwood? Can we just have a bit of I want a bit of a survey here, and we'll see. Yeah, this is true. You didn't bring this up. I thought you would bring this up, Marco. Nick Dacos. He gets a lot of possessions, but again, his efficiency at 38%, man. He kicks like 4 out of every 10, 6 out of every 10 go.
That's got nothing to do with injuries. It's got nothing to do with injuries.
Look at this. Who do we hate, mate? Jason, Essendon, Lou, the Pies, the Collingwood, Essendon. Oh, that's unusual from John Holden. I know personally, John, he's my age, and he hates Essendon more.
Johnny.
The Maggot Pies, the Pies. Frank, he's just the bang in the middle. Hate them both. Definitely the Pies. Essendon because of Mark. My God, you made someone hate your team more. That takes bloody Michelle Williams Pies, and she's spewing up.
Well, you know, I think also, Rocco, to be fair, when you really look at it, Essendon hasn't been competitive over the last 10 years. Would that be fair to say, Quinn?
Yeah, you know what it is? I think with Essendon, if this question was asked last year or even the year before, right, everyone would have said Collingwood. It's because they're back out of the woodworks, they're winning a few games, and everyone just remembers just how much you can't stand them. And it happens with every club. I'm no doubt in 2017, you guys all would have hated, even more than you already do, hated Richmond. Carlton come out of the woodworks all of a sudden. Everyone starts to remember how annoying they are when they're up and about, and it's happening now with Essendon. So I think that's what it is. They've been shit. Now they're good or good, and we hate them again.
At the end of the day, you don't hate bad sides. You don't hate bad players. Let's be serious, right? You don't hate shit players. You don't hate shit sides.
Mason Cox.
Nice. Yeah, that's true. You've actually wrecked my whole theory there. He's shit and I hate him.
Hey, can I ask?
That's the only one.
Can I ask? Is that the new dummy replacing the old dummy? Oh, the old dummy's back. Oh, okay.
Oh, the old dummy's back. All right, we've talked enough about your shit sides. That was pretty good. Manny kept up with his bet. Yeah, that is a bubble. You know why their heads bubble like that? Because there's nothing in it, mate. Your head should bubble. When you move, your head bubbles, doesn't it? All right, let's go into the next one. What was the next one?
Carlton.
Carlton.
Carlton. Spuds.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Is that 8? I can't read, mate. 18, what is it? 18-8, 116 to 16-8?
Yeah.
104. Yeah, that's a bit small for my eyes. I might have to get my magnifying glass out to have a look at that. But yeah, we got beaten after being 38 points up, as I always do, and I'll keep it up to. I'll always do the same thing. I'll show you the score sources, which I think are one of the most important things about your about playing a game. And as you can see, one thing that we've always been good is the stoppages, and we were minus 23, and defensive half. Again, they were 20 defensive half 23. That's a bit deceiving. The reason that is because the ball was up in their forward line most of the time. So of course our scoring is going to come from back there. But you can see that in their forward half 37. In your stoppages, minus 23 for the week. You know, they scored 21 and 47 from those, which would be our two biggest sources usually during the year, during a game. And that's where we got beaten, mate. We were absolutely, I'll tell you, those 2 quarters that they played between second and third were the worst 2 quarters we've played all year, even worse than when we played Sydney. We started well. Now, I don't want to make excuses, but I'm going to tell you a fact of what happened, right? Curnow rolled his ankle before the game and they had to give him a test before he come on. No excuses. Again, Wiedering got corked. McGovern went off, and TDK rolled his ankle all after the first quarter. And we just, after that, when Wiedering went off, we didn't have another tall man to take care of their big, what's his name? Who was that forward that kicked all the goals? Hogan. Kemp went on him and got smashed by him, so we just couldn't. And then he did, look, at the end of the day, they all come back. Wiedering was a little bit, he just wasn't all there. So after that, we just couldn't get back. And then the only thing I could say I'm happy about is they did make a comeback. It could have been a 60-point loss. We ended up being a 12-point loss. Did we really have a chance at the end? Nah, not really. We left it way too late for us to come back. But we conceded. He's absolutely right, man. We conceded 70 points from turnovers. Man, that's a lot, you know. 20 minutes. Wiedering went off. As again, you don't want to blame injuries, but when they happened during the game, and then once, mate, I'm telling you now, I'm not worried. People are there are some people jumping off. It's actually quite funny, man. We've lost 1 game in 6 weeks. We've lost 2 quarters in 6 weeks. We're second on the ladder, and there are people who are jumping off. But I leave that to your own peril, man. Do whatever you want to do. I know we'll come back this week. We got beaten in those 2 quarters, but again, momentum these days it is unbelievable, mate. Like the momentum switches in games it happened with you guys. Collingwood had all the momentum and then it turns. And the aim is to try to stop that momentum as soon as possible. And then there's going to be a momentum swing back, right? But those two quarters, I'm telling you, we could not get our fucking hands on the ball. We just couldn't get our hands on the ball. We couldn't get our hands on the ball to change that momentum. They just killed us. They were switching. And then they were everything was going right. They were marking. We were dropping marks. You know what I mean? We were fumbling. It's like Fab said it last night. It was like the fucking pole in bloody the Italian Festa with all that grease. That's what we were dealing with, mate. It was ridiculous. But the momentum switched and that's it. And then we tried to come back, but it was too late. But if you listen to all my shows last week, I said I think we'll win, but I would not be surprised if we drop this game because we had a big month. We beat an Essendon. Then we come up against Richmond, which was, we beat Essendon quite comfortably. Then we came up, we beat Geelong. Then we beat Richmond, which was another challenge because people go, oh, you're playing Richmond. But when you come up against a side that's at the bottom of the ladder, I'm telling you, that's another challenge if you can do it. But we beat them comfortably. And I just thought that GWS over there might be a chance we dropped it, and we did. You know what? We'll learn from it. We'll move on. There's 7 weeks to go. If we're going to drop one, it's good to drop one now, learn some lessons, and move on. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good. That's my take on the game. Anyone got anything to say before I move on to does everyone want to see the next game?
Not really.
We might as well.
Yeah. So we got Fremantle at 69, a 105 to 712.54. Now, just quickly before, just before I give the mic to Quinn, why this game is significant, important, is because we knew that Richmond, it's going to be very hard for Richmond to beat Fremantle. They're third on the ladder. They're playing some good football. But North Melbourne ended up winning, and it ended up pushing it to the bottom of the ladder. So that's why this is an important game.
100%. And if you go back to the tips, I tipped North Melbourne as well. I had a feeling they would knock off Gold Coast down here. So I knew it was coming. But in terms of the game, and this sounds like a little bit of a cop-out, I won't lie. It was an away game. I was at a friend's birthday, so I was watching it on my phone, but you'll know what it's like trying to watch footy on your phone. You don't watch too much of it. So I can't go into the full ins and outs. I didn't have it in me to watch the replay of a 50-point loss either, so I didn't get too many of the ins and outs. I was impressed with some of the individual performances. O'Shea Bolton finally pulls his finger out, and no surprise he does it when he's playing in WA, when there's rumours that he might be looking to go back to WA. So putting on a good showcase in front of some potential suitors. I don't think he'll leave. But yeah, it was disappointing. We started off quite well. We kicked the first couple of goals. We were moving the footy well. We looked good, and we just dropped it. And like Peter Bluebagger said, I am pretty stoked about the first pick if we get it, because he looks like he's going to be a gun, this Josh Smiley kid, but we'll talk about that later in the year. But yeah, I don't know if you've got it there, Rock, but the one thing I did want to talk about was the captain, because I don't have a lot to talk about the game. There wasn't really much. And like Matula said, the banner was barely hanging up, and that's basically a summary of our season at the moment. But I did want to talk about the man on the screen just here, our captain, Toby Nankervis. Now, you want to talk about captain's performances. He's going under the radar because we're not doing so well at the moment. But these are some of his stats, and I think pretty key stats if in terms of, a ruckman. Now, fantasy points, you don't really look too much into, I wouldn't have thought, but I put it there anyway. But he's elite in hit-outs to advantage. He's above average in hit-outs. He's elite in hit-outs win percentage. Above average in tackles for a ruckman is pretty huge. He's above average in contested possessions as well. He is absolutely leading from the front and is one of the – I know a lot of people questioned his decision to become captain when the club appointed him and Grimesy at the time, but I don't think we've got a better man for the job for the way he goes out there every week And despite the fact that we are a rabble at the moment and we're pretty shit, he's putting the club on his back and doing everything he can to try and get us forward. So big shout out to Nank, because I'm just loving watching him every week.
He's actually, I was one who thought, why are they picking him as the captain? That's a bit weird, you know. But sometimes within the club, they know more than what we know. And actually, a lot of time. First of all, John Holden, we did discuss that about West and the Simo sacking and how the media are absolutely a disgrace, not only over there, but all over the place. Yeah, I was going to say about your captain, and to tell you the truth, out of the rivals here, Manny, your captain's been the most disappointing. Is like our captains are all standing up, you know, like probably Nankervis there. He's close to one of the best ruckmans so far this year, been the most consistent. Well, Cripper is just a star, and even in a losing game, he just put the whole team on his shoulder. He's one of the Brownlow favourites now. I have to admit, Merritt has been standing up week in, week out, and thing. But Darcy Moore,
we're comparing. We're comparing.
Worried about making speeches.
We're comparing 4 captains, and we're comparing 4 different positions. To be fair,
Three, because Merritt and Cripper play the same position.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, like I said, for us, there's you can't hide behind the truth. At the moment, Darcy Moore is not a Darcy Moore of 2023, which was a fine vintage year for the Magpies. It was the facts are that at the moment, we're missing key defenders, and you can't just like last week you said, oh Manny, why isn't he marking the full forward? Why isn't he getting on the reality is he plays the best player. Yeah, look, he plays better footy when he's a freelance. Yeah, that's his style. Now the reality is at the moment, we've got a few missing links that are not connecting to the chain correctly, and this is what happens.
He's a captain. So they use that excuse because he's
no excuse. He's a premiership. He's a premiership captain, mate. He's a premiership captain.
He's the big boy, mate. He's a big boy.
Yeah,
he's a premiership. Taking on the best premiership, mate.
Premiership. Hey, Marco, he's a premiership player. You wouldn't know what the fuck that is. Okay, so sit there quietly and smoke your peace pipe, bud. When you guys play a bit of final football and you get to that position, you can come and talk to me. But right now, sit back and relax. Sit back and relax.
It might have been under the pump question, but we brought it out early. But look, man, the Darcy Les has been very, very disappointing. He is not a one-on-one. He wouldn't be in your top 10, right? One-on-one. I guarantee it. He's not in your top 10. He's not a one-on-one. He's more of a, intercept mark. He likes to be free and intercept mark. That's his game. And when they haven't got those players to help him, he can't do it. But you're right. A captain should look. Richmond are at the bottom of the ladder, right? Richmond are at the bottom of the ladder. They are just shit. They are really the worst scene I've ever seen in like years. But their captain is standing up like all fuck.
Yeah, it's we're going off 1 week. It's the fact that there's less pressure there. Yeah, I mean, you look at Zach Merritt. He got so excited when he handballed, and ex-captain of Essendon scored that goal, and they're sitting there and they're hugging, and then of course Carlton brought him to reality. Can I tell you something? Zach Merritt looked like a pretty average Joe against Essendon. Against Carlton and against Geelong. So what do you got to say about that?
It's a learning curve.
I think Merritt still has trouble when he gets tagged. If he gets heavily tagged, he can't find his way out of it.
Yeah.
But he did play a good game against Collingwood.
Yeah, he did okay.
He did again. Okay.
What's that?
Why didn't Collingwood tag him then?
They haven't got a tagger.
Football's about tagging now, is it? Well,
Who'd you tag? Who'd you put on date?
You break those tags.
Look at that. Quinny just shuts up there. He loves when everyone starts talking because we forget about how shit his club is there.
Well, I was going to say, Matula pointed out, and I don't like to leave Matula hanging. She commented it a while ago. She asked me a question, but we're in the middle of a conversation. But I want to go back to it because she said here, Quinn, is it true the club has never won the wooden spoon? And that's not true, unfortunately. It's the first time we finished around in 18th position. So since there's been 18 clubs in the comp, it's the first time Richmond has ever finished bottom. So we have won the wooden spoon, just not with 18 clubs in the comp. And Rocco, you mentioned Richmond being the worst side you've ever seen. 2018 Carlton side made me absolutely spew up watching them. So it's only a couple of years ago, mate. Things turn.
Yeah, but we're talking right at the moment, really.
You said ever.
That's true, ever. Yeah, no, that is true. You
haven't won
know
the
what
wooden spoon
happened?
yet, mate. You haven't won the wooden
Bias,
spoon yet.
and at the moment, all I'm seeing is you're right. We only won 2 games that year. We've only won 2 games that year. How many games has Richmond won this year?
2. But we've still got a few weeks. We've got a few weeks.
Oh, fucking hell. I had a question for under the pump. Now I got another question. Should I ask Quinny now?
He can give me with 2.
You might as well, mate. Strike the iron while
I'll
it's
ask
hot.
it later. No, I've got a question for Manny and one for Quinn. Now you've just triggered. I've got 2 questions now. That's fine. All right, let's move on. We're doing pretty good with time. I like this. Let's move on. You know what? This is your forte. Let's go.
Okay. Right. We could probably do Quinn a favour and maybe turn it upside down, just to make him feel good. And he can close his eyes and he can open his eyes and go, oh, and then close his eyes again, then come back to reality. But look, Carlton, as you pointed out, Rocco, it was a game that you had to lose, if you want to call it that. But you're sitting pretty.
No, we didn't have to lose it. It was a game I thought that we might lose. We didn't have to lose it.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll call it that. And of course, we got the Bombers. Geez, I don't know how the fuck they're sitting there, but at the moment, it goes to show you when a club plays shit football or is down in the dumps, they need to bring it back up. So what are they going to do? Let's let them play every team that is weak at the moment, and that's why Essendon is looking pretty. But I still believe they're not going to see any finals football. And I don't think you guys are going to play in any finals football at the moment. You got the Mighty Pies that are just out of the 8 with the percentage. And I tell you what,
Colin was out of the 8. Colin was out of the 8.
Are we allowed to say that? Well, I don't think we're allowed to say that.
We
but
can.
anyway,
That we're allowed to say.
Okay. Well, Collingwood is out of the 8. It could have, it could have been a lot worse. We could have been out of the 8 by a game, but the way the results have turned, we're only out of the 8 by percentage, and it's going to. I think it's going to be a very, very close finish to the end. But the only guarantee I can give you is that the Tigers are going to end up potentially with the wooden spoon. Thank you.
Fuck, I've got another question I can ask, man. I'm going to quickly ask you this one, Quinny.
God, I've been hammered these 2 weeks.
Well, what do you want, man? Your team is disappointing. What do you want? The only thing you could come up with is that you got a good ruckman. That's it. The rest is shit, right? But tell me something, right? Tell me something. What game can you see yourself winning for the rest of the year?
The only 2 I've penciled in as maybes is North and Gold Coast at the G, because Gold Coast haven't won a game away from home yet.
That'll be their first win.
Well, probably, but they're the only 2 I've penciled in as maybes.
And against your ex-coach, right? Fucking hell, they're 2 big games, man. They could be the games of the week when they come up, man. They are 2 big games.
Here's a quick question for all of you, right? And I'm not saying tanking aside and the thought of tanking all put aside, the difference between finishing first and second, right? And if we beat North Melbourne, we'll probably finish second. They finish last, whatever it is. If number one pick is as good as he's hyped up to be, is it worth, like North Melbourne did last year, is it worth winning to finish second for that culture?
No,
You
it's
used
not,
up
mate.
my under the pump question to you. That was going to be my under the pump question.
You know what? Do you know what?
All
Quinn,
right.
to be
Let's
honest,
go back to
I'll guarantee you Harley Reid will go to another club in the next year or two. It's just like Hawk Francis. They all get these players in number one drafts. They'll keep them for a year or two and they piss off somewhere else, mate. So don't worry about being number one.
Mark.
That's what's happening, Rocco, mate. That's what's
They
happening.
don't all move. And Harley, like, I'm telling you, they don't all move, mate. A lot of players say, mate. A lot of players say, huh?
He won't stay at West Coast, mate. They've got another coach now.
We'll see. I mean, there's still 2 years to go, mate. They get a new coach, man. It doesn't take long for a team to start playing well. I wouldn't say that, but that's not even the point, man. Because the first thing that doesn't count to Richmond, right? Because if they get the number one, it's not an interstate one. That's the first thing, right? It's mainly going to be, and teams, let's be serious. Players want to come to our clubs. They all want to come, maybe not Essendon, but they want to come to our clubs because they play with the big crowds and that, right? So they do. So that doesn't even count what you're saying, Mark, right? The question is serious. I'm going to ask Quinny because it might involve you. You're playing North Melbourne. And this player is as good as he is supposed to be. I'm not saying the players tank, but do you rest a couple of players? Maybe some early surgery. Do you do it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's potentially a smart club decision, but I'm just so big on winning culture. And John Holden pointed out, I think you want to breed that winning culture. And I know Richmond's had it, and I don't want to see them lose it by doing stuff like that. Although, if you were to miss out on someone like Harley Reid and pick 2 turns out to be a flop, you'd be kicking yourself. But it's it's all hypothetical, and what's the saying? You're blissfully unaware until you're not. You know what I mean? So
you guys have got 7 games.
It's a tough one, but I don't want to lose. But what's that, Mark?
You've got 7 games to go, mate. If Richmond can win the next 3 out of the last 7, I'd be rapt as if I supported that team. Then tanking.
But Mark, I'm talking about the last 2 rounds. I'm not talking about now. You don't tank it now, but the last 2 rounds.
I'd want to win the last 2 rounds, mate.
And lose Harley Reid.
Yeah,
like what North Melbourne did.
That doesn't matter, mate. Get your players that you've got now and rebuild from there.
The only issue is, Rock, right? And it's like I was saying, hindsight is such a wonderful thing. If you were guaranteed that Harley Reid is going to turn out to be, the next Chris Judd or something like that, then absolutely. But you take it away, I think, and then you're taking a punt on the culture and whether you win it, because the players will know. They're not silly. They won't try and lose, but they'll know that the club's trying to lose by who they select. And I think it feeds into the crowd. So I don't know.
I think I think the players, right? Half of them would want to lose to get a Harley Reid because they want to play better next. And I'm not talking about the bottom end players because they'll always try because they don't even know if they're guaranteed a spot. But at the top end, mate, I want Harley Reid to play next to me. I want the top draft picks to play next to me. Now, you might say whatever you want, but we're human, mate. At the end of the day, as a club, mate, if you look at the last 2 games, I'm not saying you tell the players to tank. You never do that because they won't do it, right? But I'm telling you, you rest players. You put them in early surgery. You get them ready for next year because that's what it's about. I'm telling you, you think about it, Harley Reid in North now, they're starting to look good. They're starting to get a few plays. They reckon their midfield could be not bad in 2 or 3 years' time. You add a Harley Reid to that, and all of a sudden, they're a different prospect. Look at our first pick, mate, in Wiedering. He could be one of the best one-on-one defenders out there. Yeah. At the time, there was, who was it? There was a bloke from from Brisbane who was also number 2 pick that year. He's a bloody what a difference. And they knew that year that Wiedering was a standout. They knew that Walsh, I'm just talking about our ones, they knew that Walsh was a standout. Yeah, you get players down the line. Cripps was pick 13 or something, of course you, but that's what your recruiting boys have to do. They have to get that right. But that number 1 pick, anyway, it's just me, man.
I think
Shacky.
yeah.
Imagine we got Shacky.
Yeah. He was at the Dogs first, wasn't he? And then he went to Brisbane, or was it the other way around? He went to a couple of clubs.
The other way around. I reckon it was the other way around. But
yeah,
anyway,
it might have been the other.
Everyone's different. What do you reckon, Manny?
I think just quickly as well. Yeah, I think one of the big differences too between now and then, the drafts like where Wiedering and Cripps came in, the way these young guys are developing, and and I see it like all the time. These young kids that are coming in, they're all so much better. They've been having strength and conditioning coaches from when they were 13. They're all built like brick shithouses, all 6'5". I think we're more guaranteed for your top 10 to all be genuine stars of the game compared to what we were 10 years ago, where the number 1 pick could be a flop. I think now you're more guaranteed to get guns in your top 10 than what you were 10 years ago. Again, though, if you know the player's going to be like a Harley Reid, once in a generational type talent, I think you start to think about it.
I'm telling you, they knew about Harley Reid because that was the talk all year. He was like above everyone, and he's proved it that he's the best one there. And I think you don't have to play so Frank says this perfectly. You don't have to tank. You just start playing the young kids because you're getting ready for next year. I want to see who's capable of playing on the wing. I want to see who's capable. Hey, my players aren't up to standard, right? I want to see who's next. If you're not going to be up to standard, I want to see the next player. Is he ready? That's a way of doing it, and it's a smart way of doing it.
Yeah, and I don't hate that. I actually don't hate that. You're right. I think if we did that and you finish bottom, I would cop that.
Anyway, of course you don't want to bring up a losing culture, but I don't think you are by just preparing for the year after. It's like in the old days when we used to play computer games, not like these days that you get like 1 million lives, right? When we used to play like our computer games, you had like 3 lives and you lose them, right? And that was the end of the game and you have to start again, right? So you got to a stage where you would play the game and you knew that you needed so many lives, and then you would lose an early life. You just restart the game again because you knew you just fucked it up, right? And you needed to get through it, right? It's the same as the team, mate. You knew you fucked up your year. You're not going to get anywhere. Let's prepare for next year because that's what it's all about, mate. I'm telling you, you think North Melbourne, they won that last game. What did it do for them? Oh, winning culture. What winning culture? They've won 2 games for the fucking year, mate. What winning culture did they get out of it? You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's more of a confidence. It's more of a confident boost, isn't it, for these young boys? Because they would have been devastated losing from Collingwood because that was a score that they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have lost against.
That's this year. Oh, you're talking about the win they did this week. The win that they did this week was a good win.
Yeah. So, it gives these young boys true belief. And, and it's like anything. When you start winning, right, you're building confidence. You start to believe in your teammates. It seems to, it's the whole mentality changes. But when all of a sudden you're not playing and you're losing, you're questioning yourself, you're questioning your coach, you're questioning your teammates. It's everything's in doubt. So that's what it is. So I think as it was pointed out, you get these young boys that you want to see how good they are. It's like you said, Rocco. At the end of that first quarter, you end up having 3 of your top guns out because of slight injury or something's gone. Football, like any other sport, is a funny game. You can be 100% built and ready to go out there and do what you got to do, and all you need is one little mistake or one injury, and that can cost you. So, but
Anyway, you know what, Manny? No one gives a fuck because everyone's talking about games here, right? Right. At the end of the day, how did you fuck up Pong? I'm telling you, Pong, you couldn't fuck up, but that was one of the first games we ever had that was on the TV. And if you're lucky, your TV had this Pong and you got the remotes from the back of the TV with the wires and you had the tennis. And it was pretty much like this. Watch.
It's the best.
And then you had the soccer. Remember that was the exchange.
The Commodore 64 cricket. Commodore 64 cricket.
Mate, that was the best. Mate, those games there, I'm telling you, mate, they were the best, mate. All right, let's move on. Hey, we're going to move on to next week's games. We're getting there. Let's do that. All right, let's do that. We're going to start. This is your forte. Oh, wow. We got the first one. It's the big one. Let's have a quick description by you two. Collingwood v Geelong Cats. Friday, another Friday game. Friday the 12th. At the MCG, 9th versus 5th. You know, all these games now, especially with us, they're almost all 8-point games now, except for you, Quinn. Yours are like -4. But our ones are like 8-point games. You lose this, I'm telling you, Manny, you lose this, and it's very hard for Collingwood to make the fucking finals, man. Geelong lose this, they're back in the pack again, you know? So,
it's look. It's a close season. When I say close season, I mean you've got the top three teams. I'd say are quite comfortable. I don't think Essendon is comfortable at the moment. I think Essendon needs to get a few more. I think if they win the next 3 out of the 7, that may possibly get. But at the moment, look. To be fair, I think. Either we, like I said, we made a shit side like Essendon look good. I think our games are always exciting when we play Geelong. Geelong has had the upper hand against us over the last 2-3 years. Having said all that, I think it's going to be a tough game, but. You know what? I'm feeling quite confident that the Magpies might turn things around. I really believe that.
All right, you going? I didn't expect anything different. Quinny?
Yeah, tough one. I don't know. Geelong look like they're in some good form, and Collingwood's injuries are hurting them just a little bit. Only out of recent form, I'm going to go Geelong because they've been playing well, but just on recent form.
Marco?
Yeah, obviously Collingwood have got some injuries and they haven't got enough depth there to bring into the side. So Collingwood, Geelong are starting to get their mojo going. So I think Geelong will win by 2 goals.
I'm going to pick Geelong too. As I said, your injuries are starting to catch up. It's going to be tough, bro. It's going to be fucking tough. And I'm telling you, I said it last week, the loser of out of used to last week, I think is going to miss the finals, man. So it's going to be tough, man. And then we can all sing, Collingwood's out of the 8. Collingwood's out of the 8. Collingwood's out of the 8.
Hang on. Can you do that again, please, Rocco? I like the way you did it. Can you do it again?
Collingwood's out of the 8. Collingwood's out of the 8. All right, let's go.
All righty. Well, we move down to Tassie on Saturday afternoon. Hawthorn take on third-placed Fremantle. Hawthorn coming off their first loss in a little while, and it was a belting as well. So they down on confidence. Are they ready to bounce back? I'm not sure. I reckon, and I've said this, Hawthorn are going to upset a few teams that they shouldn't, and I reckon they'll bounce back in Tasmania. Plus, I need to go for a few sneaky ones that no one else is picking, so I'm going Hawthorn.
I don't think it's a sneaky one. I'm going Hawthorn too, because, mate, over there in Tassie, they're a different side, mate. They play well down there, man. They have really adopted as a home ground, but yeah, and Freo are playing good, but Hawthorn for me.
Fremantle for me, please. Fremantle.
Yeah, I think the Hawks might just bounce back for this guy. So Hawthorn for me.
So Fremantle, Hawthorn. Next one, Sydney, North Melbourne. Sydney has
Wow.
lost the last 2 games. You know what's funny? Because people hate Carlton being a good side at the moment, right? Sydney has lost the last 2 games and lost to St Kilda, who are absolutely irrelevant, and no one said anything about it. It's all just been pushed aside. You know what I mean? They've lost their last 2 games. St Kilda beat them. No one cares. You know why? Because Sydney are almost irrelevant over there in their state also. But, yeah, Sydney. In saying that, I'm going for Sydney.
Yes, I'm going Sydney. I think the difference as well, Rock, and obviously this isn't trying to shit on the Blues, but I think the difference with Sydney is they've lost 3 games of the year and a combined margin under 10 points. So they've lost, but they haven't lost by a lot. St Kilda are fucking irrelevant, so they shouldn't have lost that. That's a concern, but they won't lose this week. They'll beat North Melbourne and they'll roll on forward.
Everyone, Sydney?
Yeah, Sydney for me.
All right. Next one. Well, the next one is another big 8-pointer. It should be this one here. And here it is. Western Bulldogs and Carlton. Saturday the 13th, Saturday night. It's a 16:34. It is too. All right, that's a good. I like that time. I like that time at Marvel Stadium. It means I can watch the game and then go out for dinner. I like it. All right. I'm going to go. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going Carlton. I think we'll bounce back. We few selections I think we got wrong. We'll fix that up this week. Bulldogs travelling okay. I think if we can hold Bontempelli, I'm telling you, no Bonts, no Bulldogs. If we can stifle Bontempelli, we've got this done. And plus Norden is out now, so they've lost another forward there. So there you go. I'm going Blues.
That's it. And I reckon this could be a line through the Bulldogs finals chances. It's not game over, but it makes it tough. Carlton win this for me in Cripper's 200th game. They won't lose the milestone.
Sorry. Lucky you bloody reminded me, didn't I? No, you fucking did. And you know what? I forgot to put it in because I did have it. But you're right. Because I was so in a rush. But you're right. It is Cripper's 200th game. 200 tough, good games, man. The bloke, you can say whatever you want. The bloke is a champion, mate. He's been at that side when we were at our worst, and he was our best player, winning Brownlows, winning 4 best and fairest, all Australians, captain. Now getting some rewards, and again, he's a beast, man. He's seriously a fucking beast, man. He's just huge. He just does what he's got to do. This year, he's put some pace. He's running out of the packs now instead of just being that grunt. He's kicking goals. So I love Cripper. Cripper has really warmed to my heart over the last few years, man. As a man who and you can see the look in his eye, mate. He wants it. He wants it bad. So yeah, Cripper's 200. Congratulations, buddy.
200 wasn't it? I thought you were going to talk about, say, a 300 game milestone, but okay, 200 is okay.
Well, when it involves my captain, when it involves the captain of your club, right, and he's played his 200s, man, I'm going to talk about him. How's that sound, Manny?
Well, I said the same thing about one of our players a couple of weeks ago, and
Maynard. You're going to compare Maynard to Cripper.
Well, he's a premiership player.
You're going to compare Maynard as a player to Cripper.
He's a premiership player.
Mate, you keep saying that. So is Mason Cox, for fuck's sakes.
Premiership player.
Joking? The worst player to ever win a premiership. Please stop saying that. Just because they won a premiership, what is that?
Where's my premiership flag?
Seriously, you are comparing Maynard to Cripper. The captain, our captain, you're comparing Maynard to Sniper.
Why not? I can, yeah. He's a premiership player.
So is Mason Cox.
Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, let's move on.
You know what you should have done, Manny? You should have shut up because you've just made yourself look like a fool. Who are you picking? Move on.
Okay. All right. All the best to him. Anyway, who did you pick, Michael?
You wish your captain was half as good as fucking Cripper.
Yeah.
At least he's fucking tough and he fucking puts the team on his back. Not like your pussy fucking captain he's more worried about writing speeches and being the All Australian he gets the medal for the Australian award instead of actually captaining your club. Who are you picking?
Marco, who are you picking?
No, who are you picking? It's you're choosing.
I've been speaking to you. You spoke.
Well, I'm going to say, I think Carlton will win this one. They'll be doing Collingwood a favour.
They will be doing Collingwood a favour.
Well, you know what, Rocco, congratulations to Cripper on his 200th game. Fantastic gun player, mate. I wish he was at the Essendon Football Club as well. The Bulldogs. This is their final game. They need to win this game. It's otherwise good night Irene to them. Carlton, I think they might fall in the same trap of what Sydney have just been doing the last couple of weeks. They might lose possibly another game. So it's Bulldogs final, and they're going to go out blazing this week. And I think the Bulldogs will win by 2 points.
Is that blazing?
They'll come out blazing. They'll come out blazing and fighting for
actually one of the best. We're one of the best first quarter starters and one of the best final quarter starters. So if they do that, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
Anyway, next game, Adelaide and St Kilda.
If this wasn't an Adelaide Oval, I would really be scratching my head as to who to pick, but it is at Adelaide Oval, so I'm going the Crows.
Adelaide. I'm going to do the same because it's in Adelaide, and and again, St Kilda pulled one out of the fucking blue there, but they're still irrelevant. Oh, you wanted to come back, did you?
How funny is it to think that two of Sydney's 3 games have lost were to St Kilda and Richmond?
I know.
Yeah, Adelaide for me.
Hey, do you know when we won the premiership in '95, who we lost to? We lost 2 games back to back. Who do we lose them to?
I think it was Essendon.
Before I was born.
St Kilda and the Swans, and they were last and second last.
Wow.
It's all right, Quinn. St Kilda will lose another game, mate, when they play Essendon at Marvel, mate, next few weeks. But anyway, that'll be their another loss. Adelaide for me.
Side and St Kilda, I reckon St Kilda will beat Essendon, but we're talking about Adelaide and St Kilda here.
Yeah, okay. Well, Well, Adelaide for me, they're hitting some form.
All right, that's all you have to say. You got to involve 2 shit clubs.
Well,
we're talking about that game. We'll talk about your game now. Don't worry about what's going to happen about.
Talk about a real squad, mate.
4 weeks time. Worry about these 2 shit clubs.
Worry about a real squad, mate.
10th versus 4th, Saturday the 13th, MCG at 7:30 at night. What a waste of a night. What a waste of a night to play your shit clubs.
Fantastic game. What a fantastic game.
I'm going to go straight out, and I'm picking Melbourne because Melbourne they're actually playing. They played well over the weekend, and I think they're a much better team than Collingwood, and they'll actually get you easily.
I don't think Gawn's playing.
No, Gawn's out.
Gawn's out for a couple of. You know what? I'm going to adapt the same strategy as Rocco. The only disappointing thing is that they're playing at the MCG, which is a fucking waste of resources because I don't think they'll get more than 30,000. So I'll say Melbourne will win this one.
Melbourne. I've got Melbourne and Quinn.
I agree that this is not a Saturday night style fixture, but I don't know. Melbourne aren't really convincing me either, and I think no Gawn is a big out for them, so I'm going to go Bombers for this one.
Yeah, I still think they'll lift because really, what are you going to do? Who are you going to pick? Mark?
Mate, at the end of the day, I think the beauty about
I reckon it's a flip of the coin.
No. I think the beauty about Essendon at the moment, they've got a full health of players on the list. So we're only missing one player at the moment, which is Darcy Parish, which is a big out. But obviously, having a full list of players can really, help the side in selection going towards the pointy end of the season. Good to have fit players, no injuries, and that's where we're going at the moment. Full list, 7 games to go. Let's go Bombers! Essendon by 4 goals.
I like it. All right, next one: Suns versus Port Adelaide.
Well, it's at People's First Stadium. They haven't lost a game there yet, so for that reason, I'm just going to go Gold Coast. And Port haven't done enough to give me faith in them yet, so I'll go Suns.
Yeah, I'm going Suns too. They are not Heck and Jekyll. I was going to say they're what was it? Fucking Jekyll and Hyde. They are definitely two different sides. I'm going Suns.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh, okay. Well, I think this game is important for Port. I think Port wants to play finals football, and I think there's a lot they want to prove. So I reckon Port Adelaide here.
Yeah.
Port Adelaide. All right.
Here's the flip of the coin for me. Flip of the coin.
Oh, I like it.
So we have got tails, which is Port Adelaide for me.
Port Adelaide. All right. Next game, we have got.
All right. The big game.
We have got the big game here. Richmond versus a GWS, a Giants, Sunday the 14th, 18th versus 8th. 18th versus 8th.
The only thing I'm hanging my hat on is that the Giants, well, someone told me this, so I haven't actually fact checked it, but the Giants haven't beaten Richmond at the MCG. So it's a good stat. It's a good stat. So I'll take that. I know the general consensus, but you know that I won't tip against my side, so I'll be going Richmond.
Any Tigers getting any players back?
We have a few that are tests, but with our recent injury thing, I wouldn't play any of them. Lynch, those sorts of guys, I wouldn't play them with our thing. That would be nice, Rosh. That would be very nice. That was probably the last game of footy at the MCG I really enjoyed because we had COVID after that. And then we were shit.
And then we didn't play there. That's right. Well, you know what? After that speech about like not beating Richmond and all of that, and at the G and like all of that, I think I have to go GWS.
I thought I had you. I thought I would have sold you. I thought that was a real hard sell.
Yeah, Toby Green for me.
Yeah, Quinn, mate, records are made to be broken, buddy. So this week that record's going to be broken, mate. GWS for me.
That's right. As long as Essendon's finals losing streak doesn't break, that'll be fine.
Don't you start Quinn. Don't you get on my nerves now, buddy. I've copped a lot.
All right, last game, Quinny, last game.
All right. Last game of the round. West Coast taking on the Brisbane Lions at Optus Stadium. Brisbane are just ticking along too nicely to tip against them at the moment, so I will go Brisbane.
I'm going Brisbane too. I know there's a bit of a, like this is interim coach. You know, the records of interim coaches.
Oh, just about. I had that on my notes, Rocco. I had that on my
notes. Of course, mate. I can read your stupid head. I can see that. I can see like the numbers coming up, and I could see it happen.
It's right here, mate. Interim coach.
But I don't think they're good enough to win this one. But I do understand. So what do you go? Oh, before you go to Mark, Manny, look at this. Do that again, man. It was like the sun. Your head looked like the sun.
Yeah, it's like I said. It's a solar panel for a sex machine.
It's a good reminder, man.
You know what? I'm gonna go for the Eagles.
Oh, I know. Oh, you're tempting me too, Manny. I had a good tipping week last week, mate. I got a few tips last week, but interim coach, they always win. Who is the coach? Who is going to be the interim coach?
Schofield.
Yes. Oh, geez. All right. I'm getting close to Rocco. That's the thing. Brisbane for me then.
Yeah. Well, talking about the tipping, it was a weird week, and let's have a look at this. So, Rocco's still on 88, but Mark's made a big comeback on 87. Manny on 80, Quinn on 73, so I think you two are out of it. But he did make a big one. I think you got 7 or 8. You missed out on one. I think you got 8.
North Melbourne one. I should have gone with Quinn.
You went 8, and I got 4. And
How many did I get?
I think you got 5.
Mm.
And
Okay.
well, it should be here. Oh, I've got to find it. But yeah, I know we got 4 and 5, and Quinny might have even got 3. Actually, I think he was really like.
Yeah, I had a shit house week.
Yeah, I had shit house, but Mark made a big leap. But you still haven't hit the front. So
I'll be fun after this week, mate. After the Bombers win and Bulldogs win, mate.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, but if it goes my way, I'm going to shoot ahead again. So
It's
be careful.
going
You won't win again. I'll tell you now, you won't win
way.
against Melbourne. You aren't that good. You bet an injury, undermanned, a team that doesn't want to play football,
That's
and
all right.
you still haven't beaten the team in the 8.
You know what the funny thing is, Rocco? We are beating the teams and kicking them out of the 8. Not like you guys. You're losing against teams and putting them back in the 8.
Oh,
We're getting rid of the teams and kicking them out of the 8 like Collingwood.
Oh,
And
okay,
we're losing against teams and bringing them into the 8.
Okay, so being second on the ladder, right, and beating teams like GWS last time, beating Melbourne, beating Gold Coast, beating Port Adelaide, beating Essendon quite convincingly, beating Geelong, who are still in there, and beating who else did we win to? Beating Richmond. Well, Richmond doesn't really matter. So, were they all the ones that we were putting back in the 8? Were they? Do you know that we've beaten? Do you know that Sydney have beaten 7 teams in the 8? Carlton is next with 5. Essendon still with 1.
We're kicking the
Stop
teams
talking
out
your
of the 8.
rubbish, mate.
You
You beat teams
You
that you
guys are
put
bringing
into
the
the 8.
teams into the 8.
You beat another bottom 8 side, mate. Get over yourself, you big spud.
You guys are going to keep on saying that until round 24, mate, when we're still sitting top 4. We might even be sitting on top of the ladder by round 24.
I reckon by, what are we, round 17,
No,
18
keep saying
this
what
week?
you're
I
saying.
reckon
We're still there.
I'm going to predict something. By round 19, you'll be on the verge of either out of the 8, right, or just on 8th spot. That's my prediction. Let's
For what round?
You're absolutely boring me with your absolute rubbish. Don't speak over me. Don't speak over me. I don't know if you've got a hearing problem.
Huh?
Yeah. All right. Next one. We're going to be almost wrapping up. We have got the under the pump questions. Let's be quick about this. We're going to put the rivals under the pump. Who wants to go first? Go, Manny.
All right. My question was going to be directed towards Quinn, but that was the question that you wanted to ask Rocco, so that was the end of that. But my question is towards Marco. Now, Mark, you're talking about the Bombers, and to be fair, you guys have done well this year so far, right? But what would you put it down to? What has really, really made the difference? Because don't forget, last year you lost the last game from the Premiership side by, I think it was 60 points. We beat you. It was, for us, it was just a training session. What? I mean, apart from the fact, put that, the bottom teams that you guys have played, or the outside the 8, But on a serious note, what do you think has made the difference in the playing style from last year to at the moment?
Well, I think it's our coach is another year under his belt. So obviously his coach's first year last year. This has been his second year. And I think it's about the young players now playing with each other this year and starting to gel and have a bit of belief. And I think in the mindset they're thinking, we have failed, but to be confident and move forward. I think it's about gelling and working together as a team. Zach Meredith is taking it from the front, and I think the players below are starting to gel together. So it's more about just working together as a team, keeping the same players on the field every week, and building momentum and learning. And we're in a different position to what we were last year in some ways, and we've got not an easy run home, but we've got a lot of games at home towards the next, say, 6 or 7 weeks at Marvel, and we're playing against Adelaide and Sydney and Gold Coast at home, so we should beat those teams. And I think it's just more about continuity of the players continuously playing together and having belief. That's all it is, mate. It might not be this year, but certainly I'm happy to just win a final, and if we do, momentum can go your way. So that's my belief, mate. That's the difference.
All right. Pretty good question. Pretty good answer. Just quietly. Next.
Alrighty.
We'll go around. We'll go around.
We'll go around. We'll go around.
Mark, you're next. Go.
I've got I could have been a flip of the coin. I could have gone Manny or Rocco, but I'm not going to go Rocco tonight. I might save that for next week. I will go Manny. Manny. Obviously, there's another 7 games to go towards the end of the year. Personally, where do you think Collingwood will finish at the end of the year? And if they do make the finals, what position do you think they'll be at?
Oh, look, at the moment, I don't think we've got that mindset, that real, that drive to really want to play finals football. I mean, I'm not saying that they're saying, they're giving up, but it's when you look at the last 3-4 games, I'm asking the question, why are we allowing teams to hit the lead and then for us to try and do this catch up? It's, we did that last year and we got away with it, but you can't do it now, we thought, we did it against a couple of teams, but when you're going to start playing against, like Essendon, there was no way when we let the Bombers hit the lead at the end of that third quarter, there was no way we were going to catch up, So I think the reality is the drive's not there at the moment. We're lacking in defence. Injuries haven't been on our side. So, look, I think at the moment, if we, I think we'll just end up being somewhere around the 9th, 10th. I couldn't see us playing finals football at the moment.
You're just going to fall a little bit short, huh?
Yeah, at the moment, the way we're, unless these injuries miraculously and the team restructures itself, but at the moment, I don't think we're the team that we were last year. So I'll say that we'll just narrowly miss out in the 8.
All right. Good questions, good answers. Everyone's been like a little bit bloody serious here. What's going on here? All right, you're relying too few. There's everyone reckons that hopefully you miss because you don't play 4 quarters. So pretty much everything you said. All right, go Quinny.
All righty. Well, Manny, mine's for you. It's probably touching or following up from what Mark just asked you. If Collingwood don't make the 8, and obviously considering all the injuries you've had, and, you can trust it from me, I know how important injuries can be to a season. If you don't play finals, is it considered a failure for Collingwood this year, or do you take the injuries into consideration and bounce back next year and it's a write-off?
Oh, look, I think the way we started the year, 0-3, that was probably an indicator that maybe we were taking things a little bit too easy, that as they say, that hangover. But look, the reality is at the moment we're not playing the footy we should be playing. Is it a failure? Oh, look, anytime you win the flag, you can't sit there and compare, your Brisbanes and your Richmonds. who've done it back to back. If you could do it back to back, it's brilliant. It's all about where the team at the moment is. The injuries that we have is a clear indication that if we're going to sit there and say I'll be disappointed, I might be disappointed because the injuries have been dominating, and it's totally thrown the restructure completely out of shape. And I think it's going to be where McRae, for me, is going to sit with the rest of the experts and say, you know what, maybe it's time to look at players like Sidebottom, dual premiership player, but he's now getting to a stage where do we need to see what we do with someone like that? Pendlebury, absolute superstar, a legend of the club. But so I think this is going to give McRae and the staff an opportunity to look at restructuring because we're not at a level where, Richmond is, where they have to rebuild. I think for us, it's all about finding and fixing the loose ends. And I reckon next year, the year after that, I think we'll be back again. But at the moment, no, we're not looking good, and I'm not disappointed. No.
All right, far out. I did have one for like Quinny, but then we used it up before. But now I'll use one, and my other one was to Manny. But I'm scared to ask him because this show might go to midnight. The way he answers those questions, he doesn't fucking stop, man. Like it's supposed to be a quick one here. It's supposed to be a quick one, but you're giving like essays here, 1,000-word essays here, mate. Relax. But my question goes to you, Manny. Right? Unfortunately, in the under the pump, you don't know where the question's going to come from. You don't know where it's going to go. But I'll tell you now, my question is to you. Are you seriously concerned next year, Pendlebury, people like Sidebottom, right, are going to be gone? And if they're not, they should be because they are really now struggling. And you are relying on those sort of players to get you through a lot of these games, right? And you think that your bottom end is good, but in reality, it's not as good as you think. And you can see by your depth that it's just not happening. And your bottom end isn't as good as you think, right? Are you worried that this is, I think Collingwood supporters think, oh yeah, they're in that prime. I actually think that you're in a decline and you might have to, I know you've got a couple of good players in the Dacos boys. You still got Grundy. But seriously, forward line struggling, back line missing stuff. Once you move out Pendlebury and thing, are Collingwood gonna struggle for the next 3 or 4 years?
No, I don't. Look, I don't think so. I think the fact that we've had those injuries over the last 7 weeks has given McRae an opportunity to throw in some young talent. We've had some good opportunities to see who's up there or getting to that level, with a bit of time. And there's some players who are, is questionable. Sam Johnson, for example, a superstar last year, and this year he's been hot and cold. So, to be fair, I think it'll be watch this space, but I think we're, like I said, I don't think we're at a level of thinking about we're rebuilding. I think we're at a level where we just need to start restructuring and just those loose ends. And we need a 12 forward. That's what we've got to target. We've got to target. We need a 12 forward. This is something that I would love to see with the Collingwood Football Club, and just a 12 forward that can do the business. That's what I'd love to see.
All right, I like it. We've been good. I like it. Does everyone like this segment? I think it's a good, refreshing segment. We get to answer a few questions that are on our mind in a serious note. All right, we're getting there. We're getting to the end of the show. All right. We've got 2 things. Everyone just stay around for another couple of minutes. I've got a statement to finish off the show, right? But before we do that, Manny, make us laugh.
All right. Well, Rocco, just to try and keep the theme of the you know, the Essendon Football Club winning, you know, and they've had a play, I think, was it Thatcher that plays for them, or anyway, but Margaret Thatcher, you know, she's now, may she rest in peace. She was the Prime Minister of England. Anyway, Margaret Thatcher, she went to the hospital. She had skin off her elbows and off her knees. So anyway, she's walked in, and the doctor said to her, "Well, what happened, Margaret?" She said, "I did it doggy style on the garage floor." And the doctor said, "Well, why didn't you just lie flat on your back?" And she said, "I couldn't stand the dog's breath." And also, I thought I'd add, because last week I didn't get a chance. Now, you know, I don't want anyone whose name is John to get upset, because, of course, everybody knows the famous Little Johnny jokes. So Little Johnny's at school, and teacher said, "I'd like you all to go home and come back using a sentence using the word contagious." So, you know, they went home, and, you know, they all came back the next day, and little Helen put her hand up and she said, "Miss, my teacher, my grandmother had a cold, and my father said to me, you need to be keeping your distance from your grandmother because she may be contagious." And teacher said, "Oh, well done, Helen. That's a great term." Anyway, so then little Johnny's turn, and little Johnny's sat there, and he said, "Well, my dad, he was staring outside the window and he could see the neighbour, and he was trying to build a little garage, but he's got one hand in an arm brace and he was only using one hand." And my dad turned around and said, "See the neighbour across the road? It's going to take the cunt ages to build that shed." That's it. Thank you very much.
You've done well tonight.
Very good, Manny.
Thank you very
You've
much.
done well. All right,
you.
that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. That was the first joke I did like very much. That was a good one. The first one was good. The first one was very, very good. All right, guys, this has been a great show. This has been a great show. Just to finish off, I just want to first of all, everyone give you go Blues and go the Tigers and that.
Go the Bombers!
Yeah, that's it. Go
Tigers.
Because I'm going to give a statement and then we're going to go, right?
Hot pies.
I like it. All right. What we're going to do is this, right? I better get this ready. Wait a sec. All right, here. All right. First of all, you know, I want to thank all the sponsors, right? Not only, I know there's Corton, but you're up there on the wall, but all the other sponsors. Been a tough week. Sponsors stood by us. Been fantastic. We love you, all you guys, mate. I think you all know the kind of characters we are here, not only on the Jumper Punch, but also on Fourever Rivals. And, you know, we're genuine people, mate. And sometimes, you know, we say things, but it's all for a joke. But to all your people out there who started to up in arms over this, and then you can do whatever you want. But then the ones who are sending your messages to us, private messages, trying to get in, they're asking for requests. So they send it in, and namely, of course, Manny, they were from your side of the bloody football field, you know, those sort of supporters, you know, they come on and they were sending messages that were actually vile, they were insulting, and they were threatening. So you guys there, you're a bunch of, you really are scum. But what I thought was, I want to make a final statement, right? But I'm going to get my mate to make this final statement, if that's all right by everyone. And he's one of my friends, and it's Mr. Tony Montana is going to make a special announcement to everybody. What are you looking at? You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? But you haven't got the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like us. You need people like us so you can point your finger and you can say, that's the bad guy. So what does that make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide and lie. Me? I don't have that problem. I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So, I just want to say, everybody, say goodbye to the bad guy.